So modern women fought for the right to live life on their own terms. You know, most modern women make it a mission to prove they don't need a man. They want to do everything alone. They go to some expensive school to get a degree that no one cares about and get a job that's not going to make them a lot of money. The stats show that women still make less than men across the board. That doesn't stop them from buying cars they can't afford, living in apartments they can't afford, and defaulting on their student loan debt. So what happens when all of these bills come due and they can't afford it? They end up homeless. Some women can live in shelters, but there's only limited space. More and more homeless women have found themselves having to live in a car. There's over 100,000 people in the United States living in their cars in LA alone. There's over 60,000 homeless people. 16,000 of those homeless people live in their cars, and 46% of those people are women. The number rises every single year as housing becomes more and more expensive. That is what we're going to talk about on today's show. Modern women living in their cars. Poverty is the number one reason why so many women live in their cars. Not having enough money to pay for the expenses of life has become the norm for too many Americans, especially women. Living in a car is considered the best worst option for many women. Many homeless shelters are dirty, loud, and lack resources. There has been a rise in women's living in a car lifestyle, and these women actually choose to stay homeless, often documenting their journey on social media. Hashtags like car life and van life have grown in popularity since the pandemic. So I'm going to first read an article about why so many Americans are living in their cars. I do have a personal story about when I lived in my car. I think I'm going to go through all these women's stories and do mine. You know, sometimes, guys, I go through the modern woman life cycles, right? And I think, oh shit, I did that. You know, I'm not, they'll always say, you know, you're modern. I'm like, well, I live in 2025. I don't know what, of course I'm modern. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's 2025, baby. So, this thing is making me sign up. I can't put a card on live. Oh, I hate it when they make me pay. Freaking A. Okay, I guess I can't read this article. Well, I guess we'll skip it. Okay, so we're going to watch a video first. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so we have a woman talking about how to live in your car and why you should want to. Now, ladies, I have actually, not for a long period, but I have lived in my car, and I will show you video evidence. It's not, they're lying to you, okay? This is not what it's cracked up to be, okay? So this is the 8th month I've been living out of my car, and what a crazy experience it's been. I'm currently considering getting an apartment because my car is nearing the end of its life, and I don't want to buy another. Before I do that, though, I thought I would share the pearls of wisdom I've acquired during my months in my home on wheels. If you're thinking about living in a car by choice, then read on. This is all of the wisdom I've gained from my time living in my car. Why live in a car by choice? This is a valid question, and everyone will likely have a different set of reasons. I'll share my personal rationale with the hopes that you can discover your own. The number one reason for me is money. I really don't make that much of it. And I have other financial priorities in life beyond just paying the landlord and electric company. When I've previously rented apartments, most of my paycheck would go to bills, and there would hardly be any left over for the things I actually cared about. I'm trying to get my student loans paid off and travel the world. I have to get creative to make that happen because getting a $1 an hour raise once a year isn't helping. Being able to travel and hike is my main priority in life. You know how they say like women rank men 7th in their priorities, and you're like, what could they put above men? Hiking. Yep. Since moving into my car in January, I've gotten to explore about 10 different states and make 2 international trips. It would have been financially difficult to make all of these trips happen if I had to pay rent and utilities. This is a big way to readjust my present priorities in order to achieve my long-term goals. I feel more motivated to get things done in the morning, and I wake up and make some coffee on the hood of my car. I feel ready to start my day and get out into the world. When I used to have an apartment, it would often take me hours to feel motivated to leave and seize the day. It's much easier to make things happen when I'm already sitting in the driver's seat, literally and metaphorically. Now that we've established the why of living in my car by choice, let's move on to the how. Oh God. Guys, I promise you ladies, this is not all it's cracked up to be. Okay, but we'll follow this train of thought. All right. Use what you have and get it organized. Get a setup that you like. One of the main purposes of living in your car is to save money. So don't go buy a new Sprinter van. Find a way to make it work with what you've got. So you have a small car. Can you take out the back seats or open up the trunk into the front? Problem solved. If you have a truck, then get a camper cover so you can live out of the back. If you have an SUV like me, just fold the back seats forward. Consider building a platform in your car. You can sleep on top of it and have extra storage space below. I never built one because I don't have the tools for it or the know-how. Also, I like being able to sit all the way up when I'm hanging out in my car. Platforms usually stop you from being able to do that. Sleeping arrangements. Get yourself something to sleep on. I just use the same inflatable sleeping bed that I use for backpacking and camping. Another good option is to buy a memory foam pad. Don't forget your pillow. You will probably want some aspect of privacy while sleeping in your car and hanging out in the car. One suggestion is to sew your own curtains. I bought fabric and Velcro at Joann Fabrics and used my mom's sewing machine. The whole project took an hour or so. These are by far the best and most useful, most personal touch I've ever made to my car. Make it feel like home. What else can you add to make your car feel like home? While you probably don't want to keep every piece of memorabilia in your car with you, one or two things won't hurt. I have a t-shirt quilt that I made myself and my childhood teddy bear that I keep by my sleeping spot. I have a dashboard collection of all the cards, notes, and photos people have given me. Just a few personal touches will really help it feel like your own space. One of my favorite small things I have is a solar lantern. My car battery gets drained quickly, so I don't like using the overhead lights. My lantern is just a small, inexpensive touch that makes me happy. I have a backpacking camp stove that I use for coffee, hot water, and simple meals. I'm honestly not too great about cooking for myself while I live in my car. I usually just go to the grocery store and buy salads and sandwiches. I also stock up on snacks so that I don't need to cook such as bagels, fruits, and bars. However, I have car dweller friends who love to cook, so don't let living in a vehicle hold them back. I've seen cooking setups that are complete with 2-burner Coleman stoves, cast iron pans, and Yeti coolers. They're hanging out at a camp spot, frying up the breakfast burritos in the morning. If you want to cook for yourself, you can definitely make it happen. He said, why didn't mom let me stay? Well, I'll tell you guys the story about how I ended up in this car. And I'll tell you, it's not that, I'm going to tell you this at the end. It's not that simple. It's pretty funny. So I'll get to it. I would never live in a car. Well, I thought it was a good idea at the time, Marcus. Okay. Showering and hygiene. I live in my car in one place, so I have a gym membership. My membership is $35 a month, and I also work out while I'm there. But that would be a lot if I was only going to shower. If you have no interest in working out, try a $10 a month place like Planet Fitness. I have a friend who lives out of her car in Durango, Colorado, and she keeps a punch pass for the YMCA. It's $4 a punch, which is an entrance fee to use essentially anything. It's a lot for just a shower, but she tries to pair it with a yoga class when she goes. Then it's worth the $4. If you're on the road a lot, you won't have the luxury of a gym membership. Many truck stops, state parks, and local centers will have a coin-operated showers. Keep change in your car and find a shower a few times a week or less if that's your style. Yeah, so we got, it's kind of a white woman thing. And I think it's because us white women, a lot of us grew up going to national parks. I certainly did. White guys are just very outdoorsy. They like to adventure. They like to hike. So that's what I would put it where we get these crazy ideas. We're like, we can't afford to do what we did growing up. Live in the car. Okay. One day I pulled out of my apartment and left, Sarah said. It was the biggest road trip I ever did, and I was terrified to do things by myself. But it ended up being one of the most liberating things ever. Since then, I wonder if there'll be a serial killer someday that realizes the opportunity of all these homeless women in their car. I don't know if I just thought of Ted Bundy. That's what I thought of it. Okay. Since then, I've driven across the country 4 more times. Okay. All 3 travelers interviewed by TikTok All three travelers interviewed by Insider have grown substantial followings on TikTok by showcasing their destinations and how they equip their cars. They constantly field questions about how they sleep, mattress embedded in their cars, cook, handheld stoves, and go to the bathroom outside or in public restrooms, and shower, memberships to Planet Fitness or other gym chains. TikTok is a good way to show the everyday grind of road life, Grace said. On TikTok live videos, I'll just go about my everyday tasks like meal prepping my food. People are genuinely so curious that I don't even have to say a word. So yeah, she's in a van. Well, how many men have lived in a van and no one cares? It's like white women do it. And Business Insider's like, we must document this. While TikTok itself doesn't provide much profit for their car lifers, it has helped direct followers of their YouTube pages where they post more in-depth content that they can monetize. Social media has been so profitable for me and most of my income comes from there. Brooke said, I wouldn't have monetized my YouTube channel if I didn't have people ask to support it. TikTok and YouTube have also helped car lifers form a community. Some of my best friends I met on the internet, says Sarah, who's met up with fellow car lifers to catch a sunrise or sunset when they cross paths. Harassment is a risk. It's like, this is what women do, okay? They go on the internet, right? And they document, and I accept this is a risk. And we buy guns, okay? F around and find out. Do you know what I mean? And then they're like, harassment. I'm like, what? You're on the internet. Anyways, although TikTok has allowed car lifers to normalize their choices, they have encountered their fair share of hate online. Women in online hate. It's like men get hate their whole life and they don't complain. Women go on the internet, which is a public forum, and then they get mad that they get complaints. Old men and women have come into my chat saying, why are you homeless? Are you homeless? Brooke said, they don't listen to what I'm saying. I mean, you are homeless. It's kind of like okay. Despite her being fully self-supported, Sarah says her trolls have accused her of using daddy's money. I mean, you're a white woman. Come on, can we just... Okay, she's also endured sexist comments. People will say, what's wrong with this girl? You're crazy if you think you can do this all by yourself. Why don't you travel with a man with you? She looks exactly how I thought she would look. Like, she looks like all the women in Colorado. The digital harassment has made TikTokers wary when it comes to their physical safety. Many post content only after... I should do a life cycle by race. This might get me in trouble, but because I do think white women, black women, Hispanics, and Asians take different life cycles. You know what I mean? Anyways, many post content only after they've already left a destination. They carry weapons for self-defense and satellite phones in case they have an emergency in a location without a cell phone signal. Sarah put an NRA sticker on her Ford so no one would suspect she was a woman traveling alone. Brooke, who's non-binary, said that they try to avoid looking feminine of course, by wearing baggier clothes, sometimes avoiding towns they think would not be friendly to LGBTQ plus people. Some of the car lifers acknowledge that white privilege helps make their safety on the road possible. If anything, I would think you would be less safe. Like, if I was a robber, I would definitely go for the woman that looks like this. Like, that would be my target. Or me, when I was van life. Okay. And they also might not have the same ease if they were not white. Ultimately, I feel that being a white traveler does come with an extreme amount of privilege, Brooke said. I can guarantee I've had less conflicts with locals or even police as the result of existing as a white person. Well, I could say, I was thinking of it from a safety. Yeah, I would say if you're black, that's probably going to be more of an issue with the police. I will acknowledge that, some white people will pretend there's no discrepancies. There probably is, but I do think the white people are more likely to get robbed because if I saw a white blonde girl and I was, safer from police harassment. Yeah. I mean, but again, if I was I think if you're going to get who is most likely to be harassed by police or profiled, obviously, black guys are going to be at the top. I do think white men are going to be harassed more. I think black women and white women, white women will be at the bottom. I don't know. I do think that they're going to go for the men first. I do. Anyways, I can guarantee I've had less conflicts with locals or even police as the result of existing as a white person. I know that with all my safety measures I have to consider, my skin color ultimately draws less attention. Despite the potential for harassment, car lifers say this experience has made them stronger and more assertive and more likely to trust their gut. The ability to simply drive away from bad situations helps too. You need to be able to set boundaries with strangers, and it's going to be uncomfortable, Sarah said. As a woman, we're taught you need to people please and be so kind and so gentle. But when you're out there traveling in an unknown city, an unknown place by yourself with nothing but a centimeter of glass and metal as your protection, you have to be assertive and set boundaries. Their time on the road has been life-changing. For car lifers, one of the biggest benefits of the lifestyle is the ability to be close to nature. For someone with depression and ADHD, throwing yourself into nature and forcing yourself to get out of bed in the morning because the sun is up is the perfect combination for me, Brooks says. All three travelers said they recognize their lifestyle isn't for everybody. They encourage people to try car living out fully before committing to it, and stressed the fact that it comes with sacrifices. But if you're willing to give up creature comforts, traveling the country doesn't require a fancy van or a TikTok account. It's easy to craft your own journey. Women love journeys. And you don't have to share that on social media, Grace said. If people want to live their life and save money, it's totally doable. Okay. Now we're going to watch this video.
Hi.
Yeah, this is going to be white women. So I got to be honest, black women and white women, we have different flaws. You know, I see I know Doug will say that, like, and I am not saying this, but I don't even want to repeat it because I don't want to get clipped, but he'll have some choice words, Doug MPA. You know, about the black women. But white women and black women just have different tactics, okay, and different dumb things that we do. You know, different. So I'll give you an example, okay? So white women, we're really the ones, like if you go into a gender transition clinic, that's white women. White women are the ones transitioning these children. I mean, I don't really see black women messing with that. The white women are really, like black women, they really put their aggression up front. So up front, they'll say, you know, they're going to be more like have a slicker tongue than a white woman. Let's say like that, you know, they might cuss you out or something, but they're showing you that aggression up front. The white women show you that aggression in divorce court. Yeah, see, Doug MPA is saying American black women are the worst women on the planet. Not all, but maybe 80%. Doug MPA, I don't know. White women, you know, it's just we're a little thinner and we have that like white woman innocence. But we should do different dumb shit. Okay, we do different dumb shit. Now, one of the dumb shit is van living. Now, I've done that dumb shit. And I will tell you the story, but we're going to get through these. And I will tell you guys the van life story.
I'm Christine, and this is my old and blind best friend, Chase the dog. We traveled.
White women love dogs.